Hey everybody, and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Sid. I'm a computer science student, and I'm going to teach you guys how I take notes for computer science. Now, first of all, everybody takes notes in different ways. There's no set way to take notes. Find whatever works for you. But people have been requesting, ever since I made videos showing my Obsidian and Notion setup, for a deeper dive into how I actually take notes, what my setup is, my templates, and a little bit more of a thorough tour of how Obsidian works or how I make it work for myself. So let's get straight into it. This is going to be a fairly long video, or I think it will be, because I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things. I'm going to be talking about how I make my templates, why I take notes the way I do, what my real setup is, why I've set up Obsidian the way I have, why I picked Obsidian in the first place, and just a whole lot. I'm going to be making this very thorough. So strap down, get a water, get a snack or something, because this is going to take a while. Let's get straight into it. All right. So first of all, if you take a look at what my actual vault looks like. So this is where all my notes are stored, and Obsidian calls these vaults. It's a very fancy way of saying it. I guess it sounds cool, but essentially this is just where all my notes are. It's just a local folder on your computer. All of these notes are just text files. They're markdown files. Very simple, very small size for these files. So it's very simple. It's very nice. It's very clean. And that's why I picked Obsidian, because there's no real frills to it. It's just text that's rendered via markdown. Now, you can see that I have a lot of folders on the side. I have a lot of notes, and honestly speaking, most of these I don't really use, and I've been meaning to try and delete them and minimize this. So I'm going to be building a new vault in this video right here that we're going to go through together and fill up with templates and notes. So first of all, we're really going to be focusing on this templates folder. This is kind of the center, and I think it's a little bit zoomed out. But this is kind of the center of my entire Obsidian workflow. These are my templates. It's where I keep, it's how I generate notes a lot quicker. And it's also centered around this daily notes thing. Today's a Sunday. I didn't really want to do much, but the only thing I'm doing is filming this video. So my only to do for today is filming this video, and this is what my daily note setup looks like. But let's not get too distracted by what's actually happening here. And let's actually just jump straight into building out our own vault from scratch, so that it's a lot less intimidating, so that you get used to everything that's happening. So first of all, this is what Obsidian looks like when you create a new vault. And let's start off by creating our templates folder. And I'm going to put this number up here because it'll just, the way Obsidian sorts files in the sidebar is just alphabetically. So if you put a number, it'll show up on top. So it's just easier to look at. So this is our templates folder where we're going to be keeping all of our templates. And one thing that's really awesome about Obsidian is that you have all of these good plugins that are made by the core team, and all these good plugins and a lot of plugins, that you can get from the community. And there's a lot of them. This is where you get themes, make new tables. You can use Excalidraw, which is something a lot of people are familiar with. For drawing things, just a lot of themes. Now, I'm not really going to focus too much on these right now. Currently, the one theme that we want is a template theme. We want a template theme, a template plugin. So let's turn this on for now. We're going to build this up step by step. All right, we have our templates, and if we go to our settings and where is templates? Yep. So insert template content from a folder of template files. Now we can look at the options for our template. Now we need to specify where our templates are coming from, and they're coming from our templates folder. And we can do a bit more, but we're not going to worry about that right now. By default, if you're using dates in your templates, they'll be formatted year, month, day, which is nice. I like that formatting. So let's keep it like that. Now let's start off by doing my most important template, my daily note template. So just call it our daily note template. And with your daily note, basically what I do is I wake up, I make a daily note, and this is basically just my to-do list for the day. It's where I keep track of everything I have to do, any notes that I might have, that sort of things, mood tracking, all that. It's kind of the home base for the day. So, the first thing that should happen is that you'll have your date over there. Then I keep track of my mood, however my mood might be, my productivity, how I feel about this is my mood when I wake up. I was in a good mood when I woke up today. Oops, I shouldn't put that there. This is just the template. My productivity. This is something, that's what I feel at the end of the day, how I felt about my productivity at the end. Sleep / wake up time, how many hours of sleep I got and when I woke up. And of course, reading, if I read at all, how long did I read? And basically, this is just what you can do to keep track of your habits and all of that. And we'll get into the computer science aspect of it soon, but right now, this is just general life setup for Obsidian. And this does help me be productive. Then I like to do something called a highlight of the day. So this isn't like something that's necessarily fun, but it's something that you really want to get out of the way today. This is the big task that you really, really want to do. And I call it the planned highlight of the day. I think I learned from that in an Ali Abdul YouTube video or something, but whatever. Then something that I am grateful for. I think that's how you spell grateful. So whatever you're grateful for, you put that there every day. That's basically family for me. Then of course your to-dos. So whatever to-dos you might have. What the heck happened there? Where did that go? To-dos. But yeah, that's where your to-dos goes. To-dos go? Grammar is hard for me today. Then I have a morning brain dump. So any thoughts that I might have, I'll keep them there. And then of course, a reflection if I feel like writing it down. Now, most of the time I don't really do these two because not a lot of thoughts go on up in my head. But this is basically it. This is just the base template that I have. Now, the cool thing is you have this. And first of all, we drag that into the template and you'll see, oh, there's no button to actually make your daily note. And that's because that doesn't come from the templates. It comes from another plugin that you might have seen while we were going down here called the Daily Notes plugin. Now, this is pretty simple. If you go to Daily Notes, you can specify the date format, new file location. We're just going to keep it in our root for now. Otherwise, we could choose where our template is, and our template is in the templates. Now, you can choose to open the daily note every time you open the vault. That's what we want to do. And actually, we don't want to, force a bunch of daily notes in this folder. So we're just going to make another daily notes folder following the same naming convention. Daily notes. Right? And then again, we're going to go to settings, and in our new file location, we're going to pick daily notes. That should work. Yep, there we go. Right there. Awesome. So if we click open today's daily note, boom, here we go. June 7th. July 10th. I don't know how to read dates. So July 10th, 2022. Mood for today, hopefully good. I woke up at around 9 a.m. I want to film this video. I'm grateful for my family. And all I have to do is film this video. Right? So that's kind of the centerpiece of it. Every day, wake up, open daily note, write down to-dos, and get cracking. Now, of course, if you clicked on this video, you're more interested in learning how to actually do some comp sci and learn some computer science. So let's talk about that now. So quickly, I'm going to create another template. We're going to create another template in our templates folder. And we're going to call this, if I'm looking over here, it's because I'm looking at how I set up my actual vault. And we're just going to call this our school note template. So this is just our school note template. And here in the header is going to go the title of the file. So this is just telling Obsidian that get whatever the title of the file is and put that as the, as a header in the actual text. And then I do a few things. This is what's called a backlink in Obsidian. And I'll talk a little bit more about that very shortly. That's what's called a backlink. And here it is zoomed up in case you couldn't really see. Next, we have then I do some subject tags in case they're relevant. I also talk about the date. Just leave the date in here in case that's relevant. Teacher. Yeah, that's basically it. Subject and topics. And then we just write down our notes. Now, if you want to look at what something, what this might look like when it's, if you've ever, for an actual note, then here's what that actually looks like. Nice and neat, very simple to look at, right? And that's really the crux of it. I have 2 templates that kind of center most of it, and then I have a few more templates. Not all of them are relevant if you're just a student, because some of these are for like YouTube video scripts and articles, but there is one more that I think is kind of relevant, and that's a literature note. And again, this was stolen, not stolen. This was inspired by another YouTuber. I forget his name actually right now. But if I remember, I'll put it up in editing. And this is a literature note template. And what's special about a literature note is basically, if there's nothing really special. It's just different from a school note because it's not associated with a particular teacher or a subject. It's just anything that you might be reading online. You'll take that as a literature note, or any YouTube video you watch, any podcast you listen to. Basically, any content you consume on the internet, you're going to be putting that down as a literature note. So I know we're all very excited to actually do it. So first of all, we're going to need to know the author, the type, so whether it's a podcast, book, article, whatever. Topics, link. And this would be a link to the actual web page. And then, that should go on top. A title, and yeah. So that's what that looks like. Now again, these are kind of basically everything you're gonna need for being a computer science student and taking notes. Now let's talk a little bit about how I actually take notes. And to do that, I'm going to be using this wonderful Rust documentation. So this is the Rust book. I'm currently learning Rust and I'm going through the Rust book, and it's very good documentation, but that's really besides the point. Now, usually when you're taking notes for computer science, you're going to be doing this in a lecture. You're going to be doing it either in a lecture, watching a YouTube video, or reading a textbook that your teacher may have assigned you. That's how anybody does it for any class. I don't know why I said it like that, as specifically for computer science. But the main thing you really want to focus on, first of all, is let's say that, actually, let me show you how to make one of these notes in the first place. First of all you have to do is just click Insert Template, pick the template you want, and boom, you got a new one. And I shouldn't have done that in that file. First, what you have to do is, first of all, let's make a new note, new folder. We're going to call this school, and then make a new note. Then insert template, school note template, and boom, you're chilling. You have what you need. Now we're going to call this structs, Rust structs. And I haven't made a page for this class yet, but I can simply by saying Rust. So this is for my Rust class. And right now you can see that there's no file called Rust. But if I do control click, that file will be instantiated. And we're not going to keep anything in this folder. It's just going to serve as just a link for our graph, which is kind of this key concept in Obsidian. You don't really have to take advantage of this, but it just makes things look really cool. So now we see Rust structs is connected to Rust. And if we click on it in the node, it'll bring us to our actual node. Now, programming data structures, I guess. These are some of the topics. And again, there's no teacher for this class because it doesn't exist. So I'm just going to do Mr. Smith. Again, you can make a note, you can make another page for this guy, and it just really helps keep your things organized, and that's why I do it. Of course, it might get messy once you start making a lot of these, and your files might get cluttered. But because you can just search through them, it doesn't really matter. You can make folders if you want, not too big of a deal. But the main thing to do is actually worry about taking notes. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can take notes in computer science. And it's really up to you individually how you decide you want to do it. Some people might like doing it by hand better, so you can draw diagrams and really look at how data structures work and things like that. Some people might just like typing it because it's quicker. It's much easier to do it side by side. You get more information in quicker. Whatever. It's personal preference. I like to type because I get to do things quicker. If I ever have to do math formulas, I can just do latex. I can just do LaTeX. And I don't know. That makes it easier for me to do things. If I can do LaTeX, that's nice. Boom. Otherwise, it's just up to you. Now, the way I like to structure my notes is usually by, first of all, just doing headers and proceeding from there. So if defining and instantiating structs is what the header is in the textbook that I'm reading, then that's what I'm going to keep the header as in my actual note. And the cool thing about Obsidian allows you to collapse your headers, so this makes it nice and easy. Now, additionally, I like to try and phrase my notes in the form of a question. So, what is a struct, right? What is a struct? And then you can also just tab this indentation down. So later when you write the answer down, let's just copy and paste it for right now. Right? A struct, I guess, doesn't really define it, but a struct in this is something that's like a tuple, but you need to name each piece of data so that's clear what the values mean. Now that's not very accurate, but like a tuple, but you need to name each piece of data so it's clear what the values mean. Then when you're reviewing your notes, you just look through, you can collapse all of these by default, and then ask yourself the question, what's a struct? Answer it to yourself, open it, and say, okay, I was kind of close, I wasn't, and then based on that, decide what you need to study further. Another great thing about Markdown, and I guess any Markdown, but Obsidian as well, is that you can write code. You can insert code blocks into it. So, how do you define a struct? We can have that, indent this, and then have this nice little code block. You can specify what language you want in the code block by just doing 3 backticks, then the name of the language. Active, and that's a boolean. Their username, string, email, which is a string, sign in count, which is an unsigned 64-bit integer. Right, boom. And then, ta-da, it's quite nice. I don't know what that is indenting. I'll do like this. But yeah, it's pretty cool how you can do all of that. And that's really the benefit of taking notes in Markdown. You just get syntax highlighting. It's very easy to do things like that. And again, if you're looking for more tips on how to actually digest all of this content, I would suggest that you really focus on not copying the words like word for word. If it's telling you what an instance is, and this is a new language that you already know programming, you're learning a new language, it might help to link this back to other concepts you have. And if I have other notes in this vault, then I could do something like this, similar to a struct in C, and then you can link it to another folder or another file, cstruct. Now we can look through a few different ways that I've done this in my actual notes. If we go through 2-4 trees, it's a type of a balanced Actually, wait, maybe this, yeah. So here's what I do. When I was doing data structures and algorithms, I took notes on a specific data structure, like the basic notes, and then I did it for, and then I took notes on each of its operations so I could absorb it better. And not only was this easier on me while I'm reviewing my notes, it was just a lot more fun to take notes, I guess. Maximizing fun when you're taking notes is an important thing. And I know that this whole video has been pretty rambling, but there's a few different ways that I've experimented with taking notes. You can do it based on the topic that you're covering, or like I did for my low-level programming class, you can do it based on the actual lecture. And as you can see, I wasn't really consistent with taking notes for this class because I realized that, honestly speaking, sometimes you don't need to take notes. The slides for a class might sometimes just be good enough, and this is a personal judgment thing. If you think you can't trust yourself to review the slides again, then don't. Don't take notes. Then take notes if you think you can't trust yourself to review the slides. But I feel like with most people, when you do take notes, you're not really going to be reviewing them all too often. The purpose of notes a lot of time is to try and formulate what you're learning into your own words so that it sticks better in your mind, and so you never have to look at those notes again, really. Whereas if you're writing down every word for word what happens in a slide, you're going to have to look at those notes again because they probably won't stick in your brain. Now, of course, it's possible that they do because you're writing it down over and over again, so it just becomes imprinted in muscle memory. But if you are taking notes, I suggest you take what is, whatever's in your textbook and turn it into your own words. Now, I don't really think that there's much else to cover. We can look through this vault and see what I have. You might see, oh, you have a lot, right? Like, oh, you have all this crap. And it's not really relevant for taking notes. I showed you what's really at the center of my workflow, and there's nothing much else to talk about besides that. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment with suggestions for what you want to see next, and any questions you might have about this. I might make another video coming back into the future, but I won't be doing that for a while. If you have any more suggestions, definitely join my Discord server and talk to the people in there. It's really awesome. There's a link in the description as well as to all my other socials. And thank you so much for watching all the way through. I know this was a long video, rambly at some points, but I hope you understood how I structure my notes and why I take them the way I do, and gave you a little bit of a good introduction to Obsidian. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great one. Peace out.